Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nick Richardson and this is the news. Poland's Minister of Justice, Zbigniew Ziobro, has laid out the country's plans legally to protect free speech online. Social media companies that remove posts they deem offensive could face fines following a move to curb the increasing influence of big tech on the public debate. The ruling United Right coalition, which has a conservative Catholic social agenda, argues that big tech companies exercise a dangerous level of control over public debate, censoring opinions out of line with their own liberal worldview.
Polscy obywatele.
Polish citizens who take part in discussions and debates on the internet, on the global social media websites available in our country, should be given basic rights which guarantee them the respect for their civil liberties and freedoms guaranteed by the Polish constitution. To make this happen, we need to create a legal framework which will allow us successfully to enforce respect for Polish law by global social media.
Konieczne było stworzenie ram prawnych.
Users will be able to appeal to a special free speech council, and if social media companies block accounts or remove posts which do not break Polish law, they will be liable for fines of up to $13.35 million.
Kładziemy akcent na sferę.
We place emphasis on the sphere of freedom. We do not equip the new media council, which is about to be created, with the censorship tools that, for example, the German Ministry of Justice has. But we equip it solely with tools to prevent the censorship impulses that some social media websites have, by interfering in public debates, blocking individual statements, or deleting user accounts if they do not agree with them. This is actually happening right now, as we could see recently, completely arbitrarily and out of control, above Polish law and without objective reasoning. This does not mean that we exclude such a possibility. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki took to Facebook to underline that censorship on social media should not be tolerated, writing, "Poland will always stand at the guard of democratic values, including freedom of speech. The owners of social media networks cannot operate above the law. That is why we'll do everything to define the frame of operations of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and other similar platforms. Social media platforms have to serve us, and not the interests of their powerful owners. Everyone has the right to freedom of speech. Poland will defend that right." The debate on free speech online was reignited after Twitter permanently suspended United States President Donald Trump on the 8th of January. Today, China's foreign ministry organised a press conference during which it voiced opposition to the new sanctions imposed by the United States on officials and companies. United States President Donald Trump decided on Thursday to impose sanctions on Chinese companies which were deemed to be aiding aggressive Chinese foreign policy practices in international waters. With less than a week before President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration, United States President Donald Trump decided to impose an investment ban on 9 more companies in response to China's aggressive posturing in the South China Sea. The decision was heavily criticised by the Chinese Foreign Ministry. President Trump has generalised the concept of national security, abused national power and repeatedly suppressed Chinese companies for no reason. China firmly opposes this. The Chinese firms added to the Pentagon's list of companies with alleged ties to the Chinese military included plane maker Comac and phone maker Xiaomi Corporation. The measures introduced by President Trump once again show the world what unilateralism is, what is double standards and what is bullying. China will take necessary measures to resolutely safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese enterprises and resolutely support Chinese enterprise in safeguarding their rights and interests in accordance with the law. The United States rejected all of China's maritime claims in the South China Sea as recently as July. The former Italian Prime Minister, Matteo Renzi, and party leader of Italia Viva, has withdrawn his party's ministers from the cabinet, effectively leaving the ruling coalition without a majority in Parliament. Unless a political solution is quickly found, snap elections will have to be organised in the coming months. The decision, announced at a news conference, throws Italy into political chaos even as the country is struggling to contain the resurgent COVID-19 pandemic. Renzi, who heads the tiny Italia Viva party, had long threatened to quit the government, complaining about Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte's plans for spending the billions of euros promised by the European Union to relaunch the economy. We have called this press conference to assess the political situation in the country and to announce the resignations of our Minister of Agriculture, Minister for Family and the Undersecretary of State at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Renzi also said that he was sure there would be no snap election and left the door open to virtually all outcomes, saying that under the right conditions he would be willing to join a so-called institutional government led by a non-partisan figure. We are ready to help. We are ready to talk about everything with everyone without ideologies. We are not doing something irresponsible. We are saying that if there is a political crisis, it should be faced within institutional settings. If a snap election were to take place after all, opinion polls indicate that a shift of power is likely, with the two far-right parties, the League and Brothers of Italy, likely to win enough votes to form a coalition government.
And we stay in Italy, where the country's largest ever mafia trial has kicked off, with more than 330 suspected mobsters and their associates facing an array of charges including extortion, drug trafficking and theft.
The case targets the 'Ndrangheta organisation, which is based in Calabria, the toe of Italy's boot, and is considered by prosecutors to be the most powerful mafia group in the country, easily eclipsing the famous Cosa Nostra group in Sicily. The trial is being held in a converted call centre in the Calabrian city of Lamezia Terme, with metal cages installed for the defendants and rows of desks set up for the hundreds of lawyers, prosecutors and spectators expected to attend. However, the hearing ran into an immediate problem after the three judges assigned to the case asked to be recused, saying that they had been involved in earlier aspects of the investigation. Their request will be reviewed by a separate court, which will delay proceedings for several days, lawyers said. I'll be waiting for the decision of the President of the court, and I will read carefully what she decides. Two things may happen. Either the President actually accepts what the prosecutor says and joins this procedure to the other one that will be called shortly, or she postpones the trial to a new date, also because I imagine that in the other trial the two judges will present a petition for abstention, as they did in this proceeding. It is very complicated, and we will be curious to read the President's decision. Many of the accused are white-collar workers, including lawyers, accountants, business people, local politicians and policemen, and the state will call on 913 witnesses and draw on 24,000 hours of intercepted conversations to support the myriad charges. It's expected that it will take months for the verdict to be decided.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.